Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, now that we got that out of the way.
What was that?
I just wanted to really just start off so left field that every expectation that we have set is already blown out of the water. Actually, I think it's probably worth saying that right out of the gate, my expectation for this was like I wanted to do an album a week, once a week for the entirety of the year.
Yeah.
And Zooey Mama.
For the record, I've done the math, and if you make every week a 6-day week, we can catch up in 6 weeks.
Oh, that's not bad. Do I want to do that?
I'm kidding. That I could redo the math, but it's not exactly that. But it's not. It's 6-day weeks aren't impossible, but
okay.
But I'll talk more about that later.
Yeah. You know what? Now that I think about it, we never really did discuss like the format of this podcast, but at the same time,
there is no format.
I sure don't want to figure it out now.
Okay, sounds good.
Great. So it's let's see. Where do we start? We recently, not recently. So over the past few weeks, we have been listening to Prince and the Revolution's Purple Rain, and we just finished watching the movie, which was a wild ride from beginning to end.
It was a classic 80s movie.
It really was. It absolutely was a classic 80s movie. And I think that that statement, classic 80s, fits perfectly with the album and the movie.
I would say so. I would say that that's a good description of the movie and the album. And in case it's unclear, the reason it took us a month to listen to Purple Rain, it's because both our families got COVID and everyone's alive.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Because I was like, you're like, we've spent a month listening to Purple Rain. And I was like, yeah, that's the reason.
I mean, to be honest, it probably like warranted a month listen because it's so dense. But I didn't listen to it for the entire month.
Exactly.
So I take that statement back.
I don't know.
But yeah.
And this is what's notable.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's the name of the podcast.
It was a month ago.
Is it still the name of the podcast? Do I want to change it right now?
No.
I don't want to put in the effort.
Stop changing things right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah. Alex and I listened to Purple Rain, the album, and the movie. And Alex, what's notable?
I would have to say that the thing that's most notable, at least with the album, is that it's apparent how meticulous Prince was with the organization of his musical elements. His melodies, his harmony, his rhythm, his sound, the acronym is SHMERG. Sound, harmony, rhythm, melody. I already said rhythm once. And then growth is the last one.
SHMERG?
SHMERG. SHRMG.
Okay.
Yep. And it's apparent how Prince was like keenly aware of all of the minute details flying around in his album. Mm-hmm. And it's astonishing. The first time I listened to it, So my relationship with the album going into it was that I was obviously aware of... Actually, but I just noticed that I need to like mute my phone. I should do that like right now. It already is. Why did you make sound then? Great. Okay, it's muted. So my relationship with Purple Rain is that I obviously had heard Purple Rain in the past, just like in my life.
Sure. I haven't. Just to... You
haven't heard Purple Rain?
I hadn't heard a single Prince song that I could have named.
Oh, you haven't heard like Little Red Corvette?
I have no idea. Okay. I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I'd heard Purple Rain. The a cappella group that I was in college, we did I Would Die For You, which like I loved. Mm-hmm. It was one of my like favorite songs that we ever performed. I loved it so much. The original soloist who had it, she also arranged it for us. When I saw her perform it, I was crying. It was gorgeous. It was astounding. It was it's such a good song. and like I didn't have the context of Prince and Purple Rain and all that.
And
So it
the
was
whole
just
album.
like it was its own living thing that like I had my own associations with it. And it was phenomenal. But yeah, so yeah. So I had heard Purple Rain.
Yep.
I had heard I Would Die For You. And a friend of ours, Turi, showed me Darling Nikki.
Okay.
Because I forgot what exactly the point was, but he was like, oh yeah, Prince is like extremely suggestive in his material.
That is not the definition of suggestive.
He is extremely sexual in nature.
Thank you.
No problem. With his material. And I was like, oh, really? I hadn't known this. And he's like, have you heard Little Red Corvette? And I was like, yes. And he's like, apparently you haven't. And he showed me Darling Nikki, which I like first listen, I was like, oh yeah. So I had heard that once before, and I kind of knew what it was about. And I was like, ooh, spicy. And I'd heard Let's Go Crazy.
Okay.
Just like in passing. I didn't know it by name, but I had heard it. So once I had like heard it a second time, I was like, oh wow. And right out of the gate, I'm gonna give like the quick review again. 5 minutes into the podcast, I'm gonna give the quick review.
Yep, quick review.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. But my struggle with this album is that with LA Divine Cold War Kids, I was able to like pick out all like the nitty gritties and be like, I don't love this. With this album, the problem isn't with the album. The problem's with myself.
Okay. So what's the 0.5 then? What?
Oh, the 0.5 is whenever Prince makes certain sounds singing wise.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Okay. That's fine.
And that's it.
Okay, because
And you know what? I take that back. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5.
Oh my gosh.
But there is some reservation there, just for that.
It's your opinion.
But it's me.
You're allowed to. It's about the opinion.
But I feel bad about my opinion.
Okay.
Am I supposed to? Are opinions supposed to make you feel bad?
I don't know. That's a good question. What was I gonna say? So so your definition of the 4 was that you would seek it out in the future. Seek out certain songs in the future. Was that correct?
Yeah. Others. Songs.
And so a 5 was something you would recommend to anyone. Yeah. No, a 5 was someone is an album you would actively seek to listen to, and recommend to other people.
Yeah, I would actively seek to listen to it again. I would recommend it to other people.
Yes.
And I would actively look for other albums made by the artist.
And you're telling me it's not a 5 under those guidelines?
Oh, no, it totally is a 5.
Okay, great. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to...
I just think when Prince goes... I'm like, that's weird. And I think that's a me thing.
Okay.
Because I can totally imagine people listening to that and going, oh, yeah, I like that. You know Keegan?
Yes.
He has a face whenever he hears something. He's like, yeah. People will listen. Like, obviously, I say people will listen to Prince. My God, people will listen to Prince and be like, this guy's insane. This is so good.
All right. So any more on your quick summary? I think the point got across. I think you've certainly mentioned you've said that you liked pretty much everything about it. He's super aware of it. He's aware of everything that he puts into it and everything that comes out of it. And that obviously you liked it and you'd recommend it highly.
I would highly recommend it. Would I recommend the movie though? You know what? I think I'd have to recommend the album first, and if you like the album, go for the movie.
Maybe check out the movie.
Check out the movie. The movie's good.
The movie's good.
There is something.
The movie's plot itself is perfectly incoherent and doesn't have to make sense. But the emotion that's driving it and the music they play...
the aesthetic of it
is ideal. It's just Prince being super edgy for an hour and 30 minutes. That's the whole movie.
It's an hour and 51 minutes. Thank you very much.
It's an hour and 51 minutes. There's about 15 minutes of...
Prince
in
like full regalia.
I was going to say abuse. It's like an hour of him in full regalia.
Oh, wait, no. I was going to say in Prince in full regalia in the middle of the woods, which is a little weird. But you're right. There's also like a lot of abuse in the movie, which like the song When Doves Cry is like obviously
A reference to that.
Yeah,
It's,
you gotta kind of bring this up.
specifically a montage when they play it.
Yeah. And honestly, in the movie, I really did not like the way that they resolved it or handled it.
Well, that's why I was saying when I was just like, the plot was not what you watch that movie for.
Yeah.
You watch it for the musical performance, which personally I enjoyed the way they did the musical performance overall.
Yeah.
I was happy I got to watch Prince perform while that wasn't necessarily the main focus of the movie.
Yeah, watching Prince perform was incredibly fun, but watching the kid as a character, I disliked. I dislike Kid.
Yeah.
And I like, what's the other guy's name? Morris.
Morris
is awesome. Morris forever. I think I wouldn't show up to the club to watch Morris. I'd show up to the club to watch the kid, but I would never want to be friends with the kid. He's kind of a jerk.
And let the record show that to make Morris the bad guy, even though he's barely a bad guy, he gets his lackey to throw a woman in a dumpster, but like nicely. In like a, they gently placed her in the dumpster.
No, he just threw her in a dumpster, dude. No, he just threw
But
her
then
in
he
a
turned out to be
dumpster.
a good guy, so I
No, that's the worst he got.
it's the worst he got.
That's the worst he got. He was also kind of a sleaze. Whatever.
Whatever.
Like,
All right. So
he didn't do half the things.
So Alex, just for the record, when you said, "Can you feel bad about an opinion?" Was that your words?
Yeah.
Can you feel bad about an opinion? I want you to know, when I listened to this for the first time, I thought meh. And
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and I know, based on everything, that that's not a common thing. And I was like, oh, but I know what it was for me because it's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's that almost everything from the 80s, almost every 80s rock group does the same thing to my ears and my brain.
Yep.
And I cannot break out of it. It takes so much. What it does is I hear it. I'm like, internally, I'm like, oh, it's an 80s rock thing. And then the second, like, I like break any interest, it just fades into like general 80s rock. And
Yeah.
and the way that I would explain it is just like, there are so many intricacies going on, but my brain just shuts it off. My brain just doesn't care about it. It's just like, it's that like, it's not that it's not that it's not good, it's not that the singing's bad, like, and there's another thing going on, I wouldn't say it's for the 80s necessarily, but in this album specifically, I am so lyric heavy, and they make sure the instruments are pretty much the same loudness as the lyrics. And I'm like, I want to know what the words are. I want to sing along, but like the music is too loud. So I'm almost caring more about the music. I think they're competing really heavily personally. And I like when one overwhelms the other. So there's a main point. And so my short story is basically, I heard it the first time and I really wanted to care and actively listen. And before I knew it, it was just background music. And I was like, no, we need to listen to this. And I re-listened to it and re-listened to it. I could not get into it. But I knew all the songs. I recognized them all. And like, I didn't dislike any of them. Mm-hmm. It's just they didn't stick out to me. And like the big comparison you mentioned, Cold War Kids earlier, LA Divine, is that when I heard those songs for the first time, it hit me so hard, and I was like, oh my god! Like the first listen, I remember just being blown away, or at least liking it. But so what happened with PurpleRain, which is weird and not bad at all, is that I listened to it a lot. I knew all the songs. I was just like, it's good background music, whatever. Mm. And then I re-listened to it today, literally this morning, and all of a sudden every song came on. I was like, oh my god, why do I like this so much?
Oh, why is this hitting
and this was the first time I heard all the little intricacies. And I was like, I don't remember that. I was like, there is a lot going on here. Mm-hmm. So I easily, if we did this in the week that you planned, I would have given it a 3 out of 5, hands down. Easy. But after this morning, after the movie, I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
And so the thing about the 80s rock groups that I have a problem with, or that I need to break out of, is that the 80s focus so heavily on performance. I think, and that's not like a bad thing, it's just that there's so much performance. And I'm not gonna pretend like I don't, but I had a tough time liking 80s rock for a long time. And what happened is I saw a band live and I go, I get it. I see what it's like. I see why everyone was like the hair bands, all this stuff, and they're like, you don't get so excited when you hear rock, and I was like, it's whatever. And so when we watched the movie, I got to see Prince dancing around all the moves, and I was like,
it's coming.
There it is. It's more
now.
than just the music, and I know like that's not how it should be, but in my mind, there's a disconnect.
No, that's totally fair. That's perfectly valid.
That's my summary. That when you told me you liked it 5 out of 5 weeks ago, I was like, damn.
Oh man,
I ain't watching this. I ain't listening to the same music he's listening to.
No, I think it's totally valid that you would give it a 3 out of 5 on that criteria. Specifically because in music, I actually prefer when everything is closer in level, closer in volume.
That's so weird.
Yeah, no, it's really weird.
It competes too much in my ears.
Yeah, when I hear, usually what I hear is that like in an album, the singer is way louder than everyone else.
Usually,
yeah. I dislike that.
Great, Prince did that one song, and it was Nicki. It was
yeah.
And that was the only song that stuck out to me because it was lyric heavy. Because I could be like, oh, this one is lyrics and a story, and I know what's going on the first time around.
So, the one thing that I think is actually really interesting about that is that there's one song. Okay, yeah, there's one song specifically that the melody is a one-note melody. And I feel like a lot of people nowadays
in this album.
Do
you know what song it is?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
build up to it then. Don't
okay, yeah. But there's all of these all the other songs like have these like really interesting melodies and I really like them. But there's this one song that doesn't, and I think that's specifically because the important part isn't in the melody. The important part is the lyrics, and it's "I Would Die for You." It's one note melody all the way through.
I gotcha. Okay.
And I think that is specifically to push the lyrics. But you're right. The lyrics are really hard to hear anyway. And I knew the song already. And when I heard it, literally, like, watching it in the movie, I was singing along, and I was like, I'm messing up these words. Because I don't remember them. I sang this song, like, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the other interesting point that you made, and I think that's really worth bringing up, is that you're right. It is an 80s sound. The album came out in 1984, and in my opinion, this is like the culmination of everything leading up to 1984, and it's the next step.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
He uses a lot of musical ideas that like have been used before him. He follows like the harmonic progression of Teenage Wasteland of Baba O'Reilly in. Oh, is it? It's not Computer Blue. I can't remember what song it is. Ba 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 ba. And then at the end of the song, he changes it, so it's ba 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 da ba. Oh, what song is that? Let me see.
Take Me With You?
It might be Take Me With You.
Take Me With You.
But no, I think it's the Beautiful Ones. It's not Computer Blue. It's definitely not. Yeah, no, it's definitely the Beautiful Ones.
Okay.
It follows the same harmonic progression of Baba O'Reilly.
Okay.
Which is like just an older song, just a rock song. It uses cadenzas, like in Let's Go Crazy, the very, very end of the song when like all time stops, and then it's just him railing on a guitar. It's like free of time. He's like, yeah, cadenza. Literally the ending chords in that's like super blues inspired.
Yeah.
So he's like, it definitely feels like he's reaching as far back as he can. Not as far back as he can. He's reaching back.
Yeah.
And also taking a step forward. And I think that's really interesting. But you're right. It absolutely has that, like, it's this whole span of time draped in like this shimmery 80s purple cloak.
Sure. And it's like the songs themselves are just walls of sound in the in the nicest way. They're just walls of sound.
That's the biggest compliment.
Where they all start with like a solo instrument, a solo thing, easy, slow.
Yeah. It starts
and they all end with a singular thing or all at the same time.
Yep.
And the middle, the chunk is just always this wall of sound where they're just going ham for like the middle 3 minutes.
I'm hype about that. So hype. No, I absolutely hear that. I think that's part of Prince's genius, where he right.
Yeah.
Every time I say Prince's genius, take a sip. 1,
How many times have you said it?
2. I said it twice.
Okay.
Anyway, so no, I absolutely think it's part of that specific idea where he starts out with this really tiny idea and then it explodes into this entire song.
Yeah.
That is pervasive through the entire song and
Album.
Yeah, thank you. But that's not even restricted to that album. Brilliant musicians have done it throughout like the history of time.
I mean, yes.
We talked about this last time, I think. Did I bring up Beethoven 5?
No.
Ba 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 ba
No, you
ba
didn't
ba
bring it
ba.
up.
Okay, cool. Beethoven 5 is ba 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 repeated.
Yes.
For I forgot how long Beethoven 5 is, and I really should know how long it is. Whoops.
I don't know how long it is.
I don't know. I don't care. Beethoven. We were supposed to listen to Beethoven 3, January 21st. I think. We missed that one.
Okay, great.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, we might listen to it later. He starts out with these little ideas that then explode into this big wall of sound that then more often than not get wrapped up really nicely.
Yeah.
One song had a really nice radio fade. I can't remember which one it is. I had it written down. And you know what
Do
the
you have
fact that
notes?
I do have notes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But also it's the fact that he starts out with these little ideas, but then these little ideas are pervasive throughout the entire album. Whether it be like timbres, every time Prince's guitar comes in, you know it's Prince's guitar.
Okay.
Every time he like screams, it's the same scream.
Okay.
Those are just timbres. He also does it melodically, and I can't think of an example. But like in the movie, like obviously the song "Purple Rain" is pervasive through the entire thing.
Yes. Yeah.
I think "Purple Rain" is in some songs of the album, and I don't exactly remember.
I don't
when.
know that. It's not that I think you're wrong. It's that I can't name an example.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Oh, you know what? One thing is that I actually love about this album that like I was like harping on Cold War kids about.
I'll hear it.
Okay. The drums on this album, on Purple Rain, are so amazing. Like, literally, like, the best I've heard in my entire life.
I literally... They meant nothing to me.
Oh, my God.
I've never, at no point was I like, ooh, these drums.
Yeah. Do you know how I mentioned in last one, it was that they were inconsistent, and that was the problem?
Yeah.
Prince is inconsistent, but the thing is that he plays his card. He like will play the card when it's necessary. Okay. So at the end of Let's Go Crazy, like these massive kick pedal comes in, and you just and you can feel it shake. The fact that he's like, okay, I'm gonna dish this bass kick out at the very end of the song, brilliant. But if he used it through the entire thing, it would have lost its weight.
Yes.
So he's like, I will withhold this from you so I can give it to you at a later time. In the second song, Take Me With You, the expressiveness and the statement of the drums at the very beginning, and I kind of did it, like I was miming it when we were listening to it in the movie, da, digga da, digga da, digga 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 da, digga da. And like that statement, I love that statement so much, and that's where it becomes subjective, and it's just like I just like the statement.
Well, like I said, it's all subjective.
It is entirely, but I like objectiveness.
What is objective in music?
the notes on the page.
Thank you. So to me, what happens is that at the beginning, I always hear them set the beat with the drum. I'm always like, yep, that's what we're gonna be rocking out to. And they'll, more toward the middle of the end, they'll always like get a nice fill, a nice like impressive like moment.
Yep.
But smack dab in that wall of sound, the drums are just going crazy. Sounds more of a compliment than I want it to be. It's that they're just constantly being played. That's what it seemed like. You know what I mean? They're always present is what it feels like in most of the songs.
Ooh, that's funny because that comment contradicts what I just said. because
Does it?
I think it changes. I think it's that the drums come in, but it's not that they come in and set a groove and that's it. They do evolve and change, and they will add things. The kick being one thing. The expressive.
Well, you were
statement.
naming the end when I was like, yes, I know the kick you're talking about, but then I
Yeah.
didn't know.
But then also the kick comes back. I'm sorry to interrupt. The kick comes back
fine.
in, I think it's Baby I'm a Star, but it also could be, it's not Purple Rain. Oh, the sound from Let's Go Crazy is in I Would Die For You. I completely forgot about that, and I can't remember what song it is because I took these notes like 3 weeks ago.
The sound of what?
It's the brrrr, that brrrr. There's a gliss at the very beginning.
Yeah, I know.
Dearly beloved, we are celebrating the
Yeah,
single life.
yeah. Yes, it comes back. Yeah,
That
I'm
sound
with you.
comes back. That is an example of Prince taking a
Yes.
harmonic, melodic, timbral idea and just going
Yes.
and sticking it all over the place.
And the album itself, just to note on it while it's on my mind, is that it's really, really well flows within itself. Really, like, if you play the album and you're not looking at it, you'd be like, I have no idea if we've changed songs or not. And about halfway through, what is the first song?
Let's Go Crazy.
Let's
or
Go
Computer
Crazy.
Blue? Yeah.
I was pretty sure there was a second song, and then there's not. It's just like not a break, but it's like he does like an ending fill, but then the song continues.
Is it one of the guitar solos?
I think it's one of the guitar solos. I'm
I'm
trying
not
to
entirely
think.
positive exactly what you're talking about.
Because does the song continue? No, the song ends with yeah. So the song ends with that.
There was that cadenza.
But there's
like,
a
immediately
moment when I
before
think it ends 2 minutes before that. There's definitely a big break in there. But it flows so well within itself that, like,
Yeah.
if you listen to the album straight, the second a song ends, the next song just starts not in an abrupt way. And maybe the only one that would be considered abrupt would be maybe Darling Nikki, only because it's the only one that starts so differently.
Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Something about Darling Nikki. I'm going back to the drums.
That's fine. No, keep talking about the drums. I clearly heard nothing.
Yeah. In Darling Nikki, he has this reoccurring bit that is kind of I think the perfect word to summarize Darling Nikki is I'm so terrified that I'm going to say Little Nicky instead of Darling Nikki.
I don't know how I haven't said Little Nicky.
I'm actually scared that I already have and I haven't noticed and I've slipped.
Who's Little Nicky?
Little Nicky is a mediocre Adam Sandler movie
I'm so glad you knew.
about the son of Satan
Yes, you're right.
trying to capture
You're right.
his brothers or some
So
nonsense.
when Little Nicky, Adam Sandler.
Yeah, complete change. I'm gonna give Little Nicky the movie a 5 out of 5.
That's what it deserves.
Yeah, no, but the perfect word to summarize Darling Nikki
Yes.
is anticipation. Where if you listen to it, especially the drums will like rush a beat, like doom, 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 doom. I can't.
Okay, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Yeah.
And there's like an anticipation to it.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Every other measure is like feels like it's gonna speed up, but then doesn't speed up, so it builds this anticipation.
Instead of like the snare hitting on like beat 4, it's on like the end of 3.
Yeah, it's
or
like
something.
it's like, gosh, I hope you're gonna know what I'm about to describe.
Oh, no.
It's like that that note sequence you showed me that one time where you keep going up when you hit a high note, you drop an octave to make it seem like it's forever getting higher.
Is that the never-ending staircase from Super Mario 64?
Not what I'm referring to, but I'll take it if you know what I'm saying.
I think it's like it's a phenomena in sound, and it like it sounds like it keeps ascending, but in reality, it's not.
where I feel like it gives like similarly in Darling Nikki, I feel like there's like a faux speed up, but it's not. It never speeds up.
You're right, and it's that anticipation.
Yeah.
One thing that I had, and I shouldn't do this. I expected this from a song, and you should never expect something from a song ever.
What if they want you to expect it like anticipation? like
Well, you don't. I don't like
do you
turn on
mean?
Darling Nikki and hear like the first like beat of the song and
Sure.
think, oh, there's gonna be anticipation all over the place.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. that's
Or
fine.
anticipated.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
And it would be rude of me to think that Prince anticipates regularly on that beat every single time in the exact same way, because I can't guarantee that.
Sure.
What was the point of this? What was I just thinking about?
That's a great question.
All right, let's change subject.
Oh my gosh. Darling Nikki playing the drums, anticipation, assumptions. You were saying assumptions were bad, and
You're right.
You were saying that.
Assumed, you know how he like pops off at the very end of the song and he's like, Nikki left her phone number. Ah! And he like screams about it.
Yeah.
I thought that I knew that was going to happen when I listened to it. I was like, oh, he's going to start screaming as if they're having sex. Or there's going to be like a key change up a whole step. Or there's going to be like a saxophone solo or a ripping guitar solo.
Okay.
And then they do the do. And then he is like, and then I woke up. And I was like, that's kind of anticlimactic. And then he's like, she left a phone number. Woo, yeah, buddy. Like, I expect one thing, and then it led me the other.
Well, that's like, I think, and not that I want to keep going back to, but the name of the first song.
Let's Go Crazy?
Let's Go Crazy.
The
ending is like, it's not that it's the wrong ending, it's that the style of the ending is nothing like the rest of the song, but that doesn't make it not fit. Okay? Do you listen to the whole, let's go crazy, like, you get, and then it, and it's just,
take me away. Oh my god!
Because the first time I heard it, and even this is one of the few things I really picked up on the first listen, is that I was like, oh, that was really bluesy. I was like, really bluesy. I was like, should I be expecting more of this? Like, that was something that you couldn't expect. It's impossible to expect that he was going to just throw the rest of the style of that song away just for an ending. This is what it felt like, but not, like I said, it's not that it didn't fit. It's just that I wouldn't call the rest of the song bluesy, but I would call the ending bluesy.
Yeah, you're right. The fact that is there. I don't know. I could chalk that up to just saying like, hey, Prince is taking ideas from the past. And he's like, what would fit really well here to wrap up this song? This ending that someone used 20 years ago or whatever. I think we're like kind of on the same base here where it's like we have these expectations and Prince breaks them.
Sure. Yeah. That's right.
And it's a minute detail, and it didn't take, in my opinion, I don't think it took away from Darling Nikki in my situation.
What didn't take away?
The fact that there wasn't a key, like them having
no.
sex wasn't like the part he's screaming about. It's the fact that she left her phone number.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I thought that was odd, but I don't think it took away from the song.
No. Only. It's what I think your point is that only your assumptions can only ruin your listen of the song.
Yeah.
They don't ruin the song.
They ruin the song for me.
Okay.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, exactly. So it does ruin the song. It doesn't ruin.
It's not Prince's fault.
It's not Prince's fault. It's my fault, and I am being a bad listener.
Prince did nothing wrong.
Prince did nothing. No, wait a minute. This movie proves just that. Also, I want to make the point.
Prince hit one girl, and then he restrained himself the second time.
And it redeemed him.
It did not redeem him.
It didn't redeem him at all.
Why'd you say that?
Because, do they resolve it any better?
No. He's a good musician. He deserves everyone's love and praise. Alex is thumbing me down aggressively. Double thumbing me down.
Yeah. No.
What are you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Nah, I don't even know. I got so wrapped up in being like, Prince blows. No, I take it back. Prince is a king. The kid blows.
The kid blows.
Nah. Honestly, I thought the movie was really good. I thought the album was stellar. Honestly, I walked into this saying I think this is gonna be like the top album on my list. For a while.
Okay. Just from your dare I say expectations, just because you knew you already liked a couple songs on there.
Yep.
You knew Prince was a highly regarded artist.
Yep.
And you're like, how could this not be a great album?
Yeah, I'm like, I love 80s music.
Yeah.
This is literally the thing that defined the 80s.
Yeah, I was like the exact opposite. I was like, this is not my forte, and I'm hoping I'll end up enjoying it.
Oh, no,
but I only ended up enjoying it because I didn't listen to it for like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Which is like, and it just let me appreciate it all anew, which was such a weird listening experience. But I just like this morning, I was so excited to hear this album, and I did not see that coming. Good. I was ready to just tell you how much I hated it. I was just kidding. No, I didn't hate anything. It was just so regular the first week I listened to it, just so like average that I was like, wow. I was like, whew. Yeah. But I will probably end up listening to this album in the future, and I will probably have a nostalgia
associated with
it. Associated with it.
That's fair. I have a question for you. Are there any specific songs that you are taking away from this album and going, I'm going to listen to this song specifically?
Okay, so the first week, I would have said Darling Nikki, only song, end of conversation. Okay. Because it's the only song that stood out to me on the first listen. It was the only song that really, like, I had a whole story, I had the whole thing going on.
You had all the pieces.
I had all the pieces that I like in a song on a first listen, and I was just like, ooh, good. I think, I honestly, like, I'm looking at the list right now. Mm-hmm. If I'm gonna name them, it's gonna be the exciting ones. It's gonna be Let's Go Crazy, yep. I Would Die For You. Yep. It's gonna be those two, and probably Darling Nikki is a third. And it's just because, like, in no insulting matter, you could put that on if you want to get hyped for something, if you want to get, like, going out with the boys, and you need to, like, throw some music on to get dressed to. Like, those are some songs you could do it. And I understand, like, the message behind I Would Die For You is not that. It's not to get hyped, but the feel of it.
No, I get hype.
The feel of it is hype. And, like, so I think that's what I was underestimating. Is how exciting those songs were gonna be when I finally came around after 2 weeks of not listening to them. That I was like, oh, I know where this is going, and I'm actually excited to hear it again. Mm-hmm. Which is, it's funny because I think what I disliked about it originally, and I can honestly say dislike, is that the repetition of Let's Go Crazy and I Would Die For You, I was like, I get it. I've heard the words, like, stop saying it. But then when I finally came back around and there's a hair of nostalgia, I knew it was coming. I was like, ooh, but it gets pretty hype at this part, and they're gonna repeat it a couple times, and I know the words, and I can I'm in, yeah. And then you're in. And then I was like, okay. So I didn't think those were gonna be the songs that were gonna stick.
Okay, nice.
For sure. And then the movie added a larger story to I Would Die For You.
Yep. Absolutely.
So the context is, which Alex picked out. I could have blown over my head if Alex wasn't watching next to me. His parents are having, like, marital issues, and his father to his mother is like, I would die for you. And then, like, 4 scenes later, Prince is on stage singing I Would Die For You, and Alex is like, I get it. And I was like, what? Yeah. I was like, get what?
You know what? To be fair, though, I did also say I get it, like, on 3 false alarms.
You're right.
Specifically with Computer Blue and Darling Nikki.
Yeah. But you named the right one on there, and that's
that's the important part.
And then Let's Go Crazy is just like, that's just the first song they play to be like, this is a music movie. I hope you guys like music.
Yeah.
But Let's Go Crazy in the movie, the context I got from that is we got to watch Prince do his live performance, or faux live performance, and he was jamming.
Oh,
and it really makes you be like, I get it. I can see how you dance to this song. Mm-hmm. So that's honestly, I think those would be in the save category, and they'd be in a hype playlist for sure.
Absolutely.
And just to shout it out, PurpleRain's not bad. I have nothing against PurpleRain.
I'm not saving PurpleRain.
It's the name of the album. It's the name of the movie.
Yeah.
It's obviously, like, the big finale of it, and it's great as a finale. I just like, and it's even my first listen on PurpleRain, it came on and I was like, oh, I like it. It's, it wraps it all up, but, like, it's like in a movie, you're not waiting for the falling action, you're watching for the climax.
Yeah.
And, like, PurpleRain is an excellent falling action. It's an excellent way to wrap everything up, but I don't want to listen to it unless I'm in, like, a closing mood, like a end of a party. Throw Purple Rain on. We're kicking people out.
Throw on closing time.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. The order is sober up, Purple Rain, closing time, and if they haven't left by then,
You just turn it off.
just stop playing.
Stop playing the music. Yeah, that's fair.
Keepers.
Yeah, in my keepers playlist, I already knew I was throwing in "Let's Go Crazy."
What was "Let's Go Crazy" one of the ones that you knew ahead of time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know it by name, but I'd heard
Yeah.
it before.
Okay, that's fine.
And once I heard it again, I was like, oh yeah, like I knew the beginning of like "Dearly Beloved." And I was like, oh, this is a really cheesy opening. And then once the song actually gets into it, that's when I was like, oh, I've heard this song before.
Okay, so I want to talk about that opening for a moment because like that's obviously like the start of the album, right?
Yeah.
And like that's when I was invested. I was like, let's go, let's hit me with this. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here tonight.
Celebrate this thing we call life.
It's Electric World Life, and that's forever. And that's a really long time. The first time I heard it, I was like, this is artsy. Like, not in a negative way, in like, let's get deep.
This is like Prince with the fluffs and everything.
Yeah. I was like, let's get deep. And unfortunately, the movie did not live up to that, and the album doesn't live up to that starting line. I like the starting line. I think you can build around it in a different way. I wanted it to do something else, and that's where I was assuming. I was coming into this expectation like that was going to define the album, and it does not, and that's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with me thinking that it's going to define the album. It's just that I was like, oh, let's hit it. Let's start. Let's base an entire album off that quote, and then I was like, I was wrong. This is not the album. Any thoughts on that?
I didn't want to tell this story, but now like the fact that we're like talking about specifically opening a line, I absolutely have to. I saw a band perform live "Let's Go Crazy" from beginning to end.
To just the 5-minute song.
The 5-minute song.
Okay,
5-minute song.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to name the band if you don't want to.
I'm not going to. Because I literally heard the singer go, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to celebrate this thing we call life," or something like that. And I was like, this is so dumb. And I straight up walked out.
That's a good that's
I
a good
left,
story.
And I didn't hear the rest of "Let's Go Crazy."
That's a good story. That's a great story. No, because it's different. It's it's like I said, it's artsy. Like you said, it's so artsy that you're like, they better be good.
They better be good.
This band better be good.
Once I heard Prince do it, I was immediately like, this is the best this song and opening could possibly be. Like, it's not getting any better than this.
And obviously because
unless I saw it live.
And obviously because I said I like "Let's Go Crazy."
Yeah.
The opening and "Let's Go Crazy" are very different. You build up to the big hype of "Let's Go Crazy," but you start way down low at like the lovey-dovey artsy stuff.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
All right, you can continue now.
Okay, yeah. So "Let's Go Crazy" definitely on the list. I might throw "Take Me With You" on there, but I don't think I will. I am definitely throwing in. I might throw in "Darling Nikki." Definitely throwing in "I Would Die For You." "Baby I'm a Star." Sleeper hit. Best song on the album.
Give me.
Best song
remind
on the album.
Remind me why you like it. At least tell me why you like it.
It's the most up song on the entire album.
The most up song?
No. It makes me like no song makes me feel more excited.
I think too much is going on for me. I think that's my problem.
Yeah. You know the band Wolfpack?
I do.
I think Wolfpack listen to this album, listen to this song one too many times.
Okay, all right.
You know like how Wolfpack has like that really like upbeat, happy sound to like almost every song they do?
Sure.
If you were to take that expression and emotion and condense it into one song, "Baby I'm a Star." No. It's funky, it's fun.
It's "Baby I'm a Star" is like, I don't know why it's like not catching me.
I'm a star.
One thing that I thought was pretty heavy on the album that obviously I like is the keyboard. I thought the
keyboard's
is pretty heavy on the whole thing, and it's not that I think it's playing all the time. I think when it plays, it comes.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where like when Prince deals the card, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
And man, I just had a great. "Take Me With You."
Yep. Take me with you.
No, I wanted to bring it up because he hits a And just because we've talked about it before, he hits some high notes, and I'm trying.
He hits some high notes.
What? So like, what is the line when he hits the high notes? That's why I had it for a moment and I lost it.
Baby, I want you. That was one of the sounds that when I heard it the first time, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
It was that.
Well,
kind of
so
sound.
it's in
Now
the,
I love it.
in the wall of sound. I think sometimes when he gets so high, it's just so inaudible. It is just he's so high. I'm like, I have no idea what he's saying right now. It's just a high.
Dude, that guy's so high right now. I got no
I
idea
know.
what
I
he's
said
saying.
that.
No, there's one song specifically that like he sings a note that's so high.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought it was a synth or a guitar, and I was like, and he comes down, and I was like, oh, that's Prince like singing.
Yeah.
I want to know exactly what it is, and it's not. I think it's really far along. Is it?
So I'm gonna briefly talk about the rest of the band. So what's the name of the band, Alex? I'm literally
The Revolution.
The Revolution. So in the movie Purple Rain, the Revolution is just themselves. They just play their actual parts as actors. So like the guitarist is the guitarist, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And they're all acting as themselves. And so it's just a big fake band fight where Prince is being all uppity and like, I like my own stuff, and they're like, but we wrote music too, and it's goofy. It's too predictable in that aspect of it. But it's nice because there's practically no actors that aren't musicians. Even the side bands in it, the quote unquote competing bands, are musicians that play with Prince, which is cool.
Yeah. One thing that's actually really worth pointing out, with the album specifically, is that the musicians on the album, it's actually really funny that because all of the problems in the movie that the band are having, the band has come out and been like, oh no, like working with Prince was like magical. Like he would never use anything else melodically. He did all of the melodies and stuff like that, but he gave all of the musicians a lot of creative freedom to kind of come up with their own ideas and fill in the way that they wanted to. And they said it definitely led to a better album, which makes perfect sense.
Well, that's why I thought it was goofy that he was like the uppity musician, don't want to listen to anybody.
Yeah. When in reality, it's like the exact opposite.
He was supposed to be the tragic hero. That's like his
that's what I get.
Yeah, he's like the tragic hero where he has to go through all the struggles of like not becoming his father because he respects him, but at the same time his father has some negative sides.
He acknowledges the negatives.
Yeah, and somewhere along there he needs to be like, my band writes good music too. Like in like some weird epiphany, like he didn't already like his band. Like
but the point being that it's worth acknowledging that the musicians that Prince hired, Prince was very, very good about hiring anybody who could play. At the time, he was hiring like black and white musicians. He was hiring trans musicians. He was hiring anybody who could play the instrument, which is spectacular. And kudos to Prince. Really, really cool stuff. It's worth mentioning that, and I looked this up beforehand, and I want to bring it up again because oh my Lanta, it blew my mind when I read it.
What are you looking at?
So check this out. So the full band appears on 5 tracks.
Yep.
Let's Go Crazy, Computer Blue. Computer Blue is written by not Prince.
Okay.
That was the only song that wasn't written by Prince. It was written by the band, and then it came together.
Okay.
I Would Die For You is a full band. Baby I'm a Star is a full band. Purple Rain is full band. The remainder of the tracks are essentially solo performances by Prince.
What do you mean by essentially? Like
he records basically everything himself.
Oh, interesting.
And he is the musician on basically everything. So that would mean the tracks. Are you looking at a list?
I was looking at a list. Yeah.
Yeah. Pull up a list. Any track that isn't Let's Go Crazy, Computer Blue, I Would Die For You, Baby I'm a Star, and Purple Rain. What are those tracks?
I'm sorry. Let's Go Crazy, Computer Blue,
I Would Die for
I
You.
Would Die for You.
Baby, I'm a Star.
Baby, I'm a Star. Purple Rain. Okay, so that leaves Take Me With You, The Beautiful Ones, Darling Nikki, When Doves Cry.
Those are just Prince. And you know what? The fact that the first two aren't great. The first two are fine. Darling Nikki is really good. The fact that When Doves Cry is essentially a solo performance by Prince blows my mind.
That's pretty crazy.
Um,
My dad was telling me that oh my gosh, I'm gonna botch this. This is gonna be like the grossest music secondhand.
This is what we're gonna cut on. This is gonna be the last thing we talk about before we wrap up.
Oh, okay,
don't mess it up. No, give it to me.
He said that the band Boston was one guy who recorded every instrument. And he didn't have a band, but he was from Boston.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the first times anyone ever recorded all of his own stuff, put it out, and they were like, "Oh, who's the band?" He's like, "It's just me." We can double check that.
I would double check that.
That's the story my dad told me, and it sounded pretty cool when he said it.
Yeah, there's speculation that there's a Beatles song that is just Paul McCartney doing every instrument. But the funny part is, it's a really bad song, and there's a lot of like technical errors in it.
So
he drops a tambourine in it, like he messes up technically all over the place, and it's really funny. I can't remember what the name of the song is. But there have been, Stevie Wonder recorded a lot of the stuff on his own. Ray Charles.
Okay.
Was famous for like doing basically everything himself. I don't know if Ray Charles did everything. I don't know if he did drums. I know that Stevie Wonder did everything. He was virtuosic on every instrument. The guy from Boston is insane. The singer, I imagine.
Okay. So Tom Scholz played the majority of instruments on the debut album.
Yeah, that makes...
Okay. So it's mostly right. Mostly accurate, which is cool.
Yeah, I think that that ability for a person to be able to do that is possible. Like people, like
what does that even? Is it now?
It doesn't. The fact that I know, I feel like I'm like.
There's a lot of
totally
there's a lot of iconic songs that like even Boston knows that we'd be like, yeah, this was just the guy.
It's just that one guy.
Like, yeah.
And the fact that like Prince does like When Doves Cry is basically himself is mind blowing. These are all mind blowing situations. One thing that I think is really interesting is that today with the technology that we have, I think it's way easier and way more accessible for a person to do that. And I'm very interested to see what happens because...
Well, they already have, like, the...
Panic at the Disco, the Death of a Bachelor. Or it might have been... No, I think it was Say Amen. I don't know. I think it was Death of the Bachelor.
I was going to go on a more casual route, but keep talking.
Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco did that. Like, recorded every instrument. For basically most of... I think it was... I want to say it was Death of a Bachelor, but I could be wrong, and it could be Say Amen.
Which one came out first?
Death of a Bachelor. I think he did all of Death of a Bachelor. Not all of Death of a Bachelor, but 80% of the album was just Brendan Urie. I think, and I could be wrong about that.
Okay. I was going to say, so I think the more digestible... form of media of what you're referring to of modern day people using the recording technology that we have is unfortunately on a more amateur level.
SoundCloud.
No. That's not what I mean. I'm thinking about and you've seen them, and everyone who's ever watched music online has seen them, is just the YouTube videos where people just cut themselves and every instrument they play, they put themselves in a different frame. That is literally what you're describing.
That was my Mr. Auburn performance.
Yes. Well, no, you used the technology and did it live.
You're right.
There's a big difference.
Okay, yeah.
The point is that everyone's seen it, everyone's heard of it, and the fact that
and it's repeatable.
It's repeatable, yeah. So like, but I don't want to say it's not easy or reasonable to do live though. And that's the reason I wanted to say a difference on yours is you had to use the pedals and the repeaters or whatever.
I used an iPad.
Oh, okay. You had to use the technology live and like play it. Put on loop, switch to your next instrument.
Yeah. Do you remember?
I was there. I know.
Yeah,
I remember.
You literally used the iPad.
I remember. I just like the point. I don't remember anything. Don't listen to me.
All right.
The point is that like I think that's the only disconnect that'll cause when someone plays all the instruments is going to a live performance, which going back to what I said earlier, when I said this whole album is 10 times better live.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So the fact that Prince did everything is cool and all, but you're not gonna get the same sound when the whole band is there playing, because they have to play live. He can't do everything live, and he couldn't do it in the 80s at least.
No, I think that if you saw Prince live, it would basically indistinguishable. Absolutely not.
Okay.
You would be able to be like, oh, it's a little different, yeah, obviously.
Sure.
But the musicianship is still up there.
Yeah,
like
okay.
he sets a standard.
But so, like, to say that he did them on the album live, you're like, cool, these are great recordings, the songs are great, not, like, great.
Yeah.
I just think that's the only disconnect that
You're right. I shouldn't have...
art does. And that's,
right out of the gate, I retract my statement of saying, that's mind-blowing, that's insane. It's less insane. But it's still really cool.
Impressive.
It's impressive. It's absolutely
It's impressive. The songs are great. There's no...
You know what else is
no
impressive?
downside there.
The way that I'm wrapping up this episode. Thank you all for joining us on What's Notable. I give this album a 5 out of 5. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!
Bye-bye.